Well, apparently it continues, right? It continues. The freaking preview curse continues, and I'm as done with it as much as you are with it, guys. But I just want to be realistic with you in this one. Like, the only constant thing that I see, well, let me see if the chat book is actually working because I don't see anything here. The the constant that I see here is that Barca must be held accountable at least for one time because we are always coming into these big games, and with Koeman here, we haven't won a single one. The only game that we managed to win in situations like this one, in situations where we actually like it's a big game, was the Sevilla comeback. That's the only game, and my goodness, every single time you come into this game, every single game, Barca look lost. They look nervous, shaky, clumsy, and horrible. They really, really do. The first few minutes, as soon as you start the game, you realize this team is shit. They're playing shit, and that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it, and I cannot say anything else than it. We start these games always like we put too much pressure on us. We build ourselves up to this thing, and my goodness, it always results in the very same thing. And people saying never do a preview again, like Matthew Sandy 40 saying here, but I don't care. I don't care because if you're really like coming here thinking the previews are the problem, then you're leaving. I know it's a joke. I know it's a joke, really. I know it's a joke. There's literally no way how this can affect it. And it continues, apparently. So, indeed. Anna Gishen says Barca kind of dug a hole for themselves with two early goals and not showing up for the first half. Indeed, the first half was horrendous, was horrible. And as soon as I saw the 4-4-2 from Zinedine Zidane, I knew it was going to go this way. I knew they were going to sit back. I knew they were going to defend. And I knew that Koeman's plan was going to go to shit. That was the reality of it. People say turn up the mic volume. It's up to the max. It's up to the max. Like, I cannot turn it up higher. But indeed, that's what I saw from Koeman as soon as we got into the game, because Zinedine Zidane's plan was gonna always sit back, counterattack, and I believe that's where we were a little bit naive. We did play bad in the first half. Like in the first half, we played horrendously, and that is something that you cannot not say. We played bad in the first half. We played horrendously. I'm trying to fix this. I'm trying to turn up the volume. Apparently, people are saying it's kind of low, but that's where we are now. And indeed, we played really bad the first half. We were not in the game at all. Real Madrid controlled the midfield, and it was the right decision to push the young further forward. But the difference was that there wasn't enough numbers, there wasn't enough players in the front half to be able to cut and be as deadly as we were in the second half. The introduction of Antoine Griezmann was a really good virtue that Koeman did introduce, and that's where I believe we did see some positive. But we saw it against a team like PSG. The very first kind of few minutes where we had the three at the back, we were playing good but always shaky. And as soon as we changed to the 4-3-3 in that PSG game as well, or in a game like Sevilla, for instance, we also did change. That's where we control the game a lot more. And yeah, that's something positive. People are saying that still it's low, the volume. I don't know what I can do. I'm putting it really high. I'm gonna move the mic closer to me, like here. Is that better? Maybe it's better. But indeed, that's the problem that I saw with it. That we were constantly trying too much. I believe that we were trying to give it all, and we were trying to interleague these incredible passes out of nowhere that we have never really played, and that's the sort of thing that Barcelona comes. Our play is very risky. Our play is a game. This sort of strategy that we're putting out with Koeman is something that you need to have, but you need to be proper. You need to be playing the full 90 minutes very good like this. And that is something that doesn't really happen with this team. And against someone like Real Madrid that can really nullify a game plan that Zinedine played out, it wasn't really going to go our way. So indeed, that's a problem that we needed to fix. And Koeman should have realized that. He really should have realized that. And that is something that indeed we might need to have. And 87 for saying here, I feel this might have an effect on the Copa del Rey. What do you mean? Why is that always on Madrid's side? I thought Araujo didn't track Benzema. How is that Alba's fault? In my opinion, I think it was Araujo's fault because he didn't track Benzema, but Alba could have done a lot better in the very first goal because Alba goes in for the challenge against Valverde, and Valverde leaves him to dust. And then is Lenglet trying to cut him. He doesn't succeed. And then Alba should be... he doesn't have a marker at that stage. And Benzema is running behind him. And he does see Benzema. So he should have run onto Benzema and marked Benzema from there. So that is something that indeed that's where we should have seen a better Alba covering. But it was a problem for Araujo because he didn't know whether to stick with his man that was Vinicius or push for the 4.5 Benzema as his marker. And that was a problem. That was a really, really big problem, I think. For the second goal, I think it was just completely nuts. It was just a free kick that it bounced off. It could happen. It was really bad. The wall was very bad positioned. I must agree that one understand. It seems that for these games, still, he just does flops a little bit. And here, like Joe Pierre is saying, Buga, can we acknowledge that Ter Stegen should have done more for Benzema's goal? I love him, but it seems that he never called him out when we should. His position and passing seemed a bit off today. Indeed, for these big matches, like for instance, against PSG, very same thing, a little bit shaky. This game against Real Madrid, like PSG in the first leg. Then we have this game in the second one, and the very same thing. In the Real Madrid, we see a Ter Stegen that is also shaky, and it's something that is still, it makes me wonder. And that is why I made that kind of preview about him, that always when it comes to these big matches, it comes down to Ter Stegen not being prepared for it. And I think that's more of the side overall, because mentally we're not there. We're very fragile. And that is something that we need to fix. As soon as we're able to win one of these games, and hopefully it would come soon, that's when we will be turning on the point. We'll be coming back. We already kind of got rid of some of the games like Granadas, for instance, where in that game, of course, I think one of the games where we got our mentality back, our team unity. And overall, this performance could have ended in that draw. If that draw ended, the message here would be completely different. This draw would see Barcelona just stick once again in the very same position, have Real Madrid behind them, and continue playing on from there. In reality, La Liga title is still very much alive. And there's not a single reason why we shouldn't believe that we couldn't continue going on from here onwards. There's very much a lot of points for debate, and we overall, we could have played better in the first half, like I said, but the second half we did manage to come back, and that's good. Like Manas is saying here, not a bad performance, but we could have done much better. We need a striker though, indeed. The striker could have been such an incredible improvement. Like it's today, instead of bringing someone like Antoine Griezmann, that is not a proper striker. Imagine bringing someone like Erling Haaland out of the bench. That would be such a difference. And I thought this game could be the one to cement us and get us closer to changing perhaps our mentality, our club. And we're not just there, right? And yeah, I think it was unjust because in some cases, this referee was awful, god-awful. And the 50-50 challenges, all of them went to Real Madrid. That's true. All of them went to Real Madrid. And then another problem that I saw was in especially the last 4 minutes. The last 4 minutes, we had 9 substitutions. We had 3 minutes wasted by Gil Manzano on his little walkie-talkie thing. And then we saw like 1 minute lost in the Braithwaite and Mendy kind of... in the Mendy and Braithwaite sort of altercation that it was, and for just is bad, and that's something I want to check. Is it unjust or is it unjust? Unjust. Football is unjust. Let me see. Let me check because somebody puts there and now you make me tell. It's unjust. Okay, I need to change that. I put it unjust, but it was unjust. Sorry, that's a Spanish mistake. Oh my god, it's unjust. Football is unjust. Thank you for that, whoever said that. Thank you about that. But indeed, it was unjust. With the form of Atleti and our strong form, we're going to beat Atleti easy. That's the thing. Atletico Madrid is a sort of game now that matters more than this one. Because we're still gonna be 1 point behind Real Madrid, but anything can happen from now onwards. Like we don't have the league in our hands as much as it was before. It isn't in our hands anymore, and that's the reality of it. So, yeah. Some people are saying it's not. I don't think you thought of Injusto. Yeah, I did. I did think of Injusto. Bro, we can't win the league being second half FC. That's the thing. That's another thing that's a very good point. Who said that? Suaradip Gosh, that's a very good point because this Barcelona team has come into games sleepy, like sleeping, clumsy, and just ignorant to a certain extent. Against Valladolid, the very same thing. We were ignorant. We came here into this game and we are looking like the team that are supposed to have the two legs against Liverpool. And Real Madrid is coming here and playing better, playing more fluid football, just being constantly more attacking, and all of it together with that Champions League tie in the middle. And that's something that you have to kind of do praise. I do praise Real Madrid for this because it's hard. It's hard to come to these games and know exactly what you need to do and do the foundations well. The basic football that Real Madrid play, it's proper because they do manage to stay alive. They do manage to compete in these games and they know exactly what they need to do. Liverpool, long balls. They do the long balls incredibly well. Here, counterattack and defend and pressure, they do it all solid. And when you have these things constantly going your way, you're going to get those results. Koeman's team, Barcelona's team, whatever, we do not know how to do that. Barcelona is either you're playing incredible football some games or you're trying to play this incredible football and it doesn't get to that stage. So, indeed. I do not say Koeman out, but Xavi in. The drama to allow Gil Manzano to be a bigger twat. That's mad scientist for you. Tosin Afolabi. This shows we need some leather-headed players, like a strong midfielder to complement the young and a sharp winger and a good striker. No one should be blaming Koeman. He's a good coach, but that was a wasteful of Dembele. I agree with you. I think that Dembele was wasted in this game, and we did see Dembele playing good in certain instances like that, and we did play like that as well. Before we've seen a Dembele that's been really good. But I feel the problem came from the get-go. Like, Zinedine Zidane already knew what Koeman was trying to do. And that was a problem because Koeman already lost the battle from the get-go. Koeman should have reacted sooner. And there is no problem, there is no humiliation in doing that, in my opinion. So Koeman should have been better and should have anticipated this reaction. And that is something that we could have been better. Moriba's long reach was bad. There is a moment where I was like, Moriba, what are you doing? 84th minute, I think it was. Moriba shoots, and it was god-awful from outside the box, I think it was. And those are the instances where you need to keep it calm. That's the moment in the game where you have to keep it calm. And this is something that with these young players is going to come, right? This inexperience to know exactly how do you do it. And I do believe that in a certain point, we're going to learn a lot from this. Like, we've learned that Mingueza is made for big games. That's a good positive. He was incredible today. Then, for instance, Sergi Roberto is still a player that can give us a lot in that midfield. It worked. I think Roberto in that midfield, it worked really nicely. And it was a good decision for Koeman to change it. But we're still missing somebody else there. I think the substitution was Moriba earlier and not Roberto there. But, I mean, Koeman wanted to go with experience, so indeed. That's the thing here. Like earlier, you're saying Mingueza was our best player. He played with heart out today, and I agree with you indeed. Mingueza was constantly giving his 100%, and that is just proper. Vivian Buga, the youngsters I feel either were tired or didn't take it seriously. Our midfielders were getting bullied, defense lines were getting outpaced forwards as usual. Only Messi could get the ball in. I think it's still a thing about, like I just mentioned, inexperience. There are such different problems that are coming with this. We have Moriba, we have Pedri, we have De Jong. De Jong is probably the only one established midfielders off there. But then you have in the other side people like Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric that are never going to lose their cool. We're talking about a really big midfield. A really big midfield, probably the second best midfield I have ever seen in my life. First, Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta. This one second. Modric, Casemiro, Kroos. It's a proper midfield. And indeed, they were getting bullied. And Moriba, for instance, he wasn't doing good. Moriba wasn't doing good. He did good in the last kind of trying to finalize the play. He was good there, but when trying to progress the ball, he was god awful. And yep. Uh, Ferdel E. Green saying, but it was good that he changed it in the second half, Boga. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean with their Ferdel E. Green. You mean the formation? Yeah, the 4-3-3 was good. I think Koeman, like I said at the start, there's a fault in Koeman there for not realizing and changing that sooner. But he also did good in changing it as well because he realized it. Still, if he didn't realize it, that would be Valverde. It's still better than Valverde because Valverde would have noticed that. Valverde would continue playing the same way for the entire 90 minutes, and that's a problem. Koeman at least realized that, and we did improve there. So, yeah. Yo, Pierre, I don't know how much more patience I have with Dembele. I back him on from day one, but he never shows something we can really offer. Vinicius played much better today, and we all know Dembele is better. What do we do? It's very hard because Dembele should have played much better. But I don't think the system really suit him. I'm sure that as soon as we come with a better team that is just drilled and just constantly play good, then it could have been better. Just look at Real fixtures. Yeah, I know Real Madrid has the easier fixture from now on, in my opinion. I really do think it's harder now for win. Pedri was shocking, says Emil Barua. I know Pedri, in my opinion, was also invisible today. I think that Pedri should have been the first substituted out. He looked tired. He looked just out of the game completely. And I think he tried too hard. And that's the thing. I think he tried too hard. And I would have played Riqui Puig there instead of Pedri as soon as I realized that he was not going to give anything. But he wasn't really doing much. He really wasn't doing much. And there's no problem with that. Like, you can be good one day, but he's just been playing so much. Sure, get him out. I have no problem with that. I wouldn't blame Petty for not having a good performance. But it should have been way better. Public Enemy says, I've said it since day one. I can never really trust Koeman for big games. He is far too inconsistent. Some games he does very well, and then we face big teams, he completely fails. I agree with you on that one as well. But I don't think it's Koeman directly. I think it's much more of the players. The players today were not there, and it's just unfortunate, really, because these players are prepared for big games like this. They should be coming here, and they do nothing. Bro, Dembele is better and shooting than Vinicius, but Vinicius creates much more threat by taking on players. Dembele can't take on players like Vinicius. That is something that is true. Vinicius is much better now, as apparently it seems, as taking on players. Dembele relies much more on his space and playing it past opponents into space. That is where Dembele is better. Vinicius is better in tighter angles, and it does. I do feel that Vinicius was better in this game. It's a reality. AC 1347 says the penalty is very clear. I don't know why there is no VAR in Spain. Once again, we have to accept it and we have to shut up. That's it. I've already said what I think. There is VAR in Spain, only that clueless people that don't know how to use it. Koeman should stop burning Pedri. He needs rest. Puig needs to prove himself as well. That's the thing. That is something that I can agree with. Like, Koeman, if he wants to play Pedri and he does see Pedri as the better of the two, then give Riqui Puig the chance to still drill in some games to be better for these occasions so that Pedri can step in. We need this sort of rotation, and that is something that where I do blame Koeman for. And that is just unfortunate, dude. It's just unfortunate. Forget everything, man. Umar says, forget everything, man. Messi nearly scored from a corner. Dude, if that was a goal, that would change everything. Ethan Trotman said, just stop your a blight at this point. What's a blight? I have absolutely no idea what's a blight. Sohail Parve says, clearly Barca wasn't coached well for this game. First was evident. From the first half it was evident. The plan was not properly established for this one. This was also invisible. That was a long I don't know what snore. I don't know how you call that in English. Vivian and then Judith Mia both talk about Dest, and I agree with you. I think Dest was shit today. He was really bad, and that's probably why Koeman took him out immediately. I don't know what is with Dest. Sometimes he can just get lost in his whole game. He wasn't pushing forward. He wasn't linking up play. He was losing every single ball. It was a disaster. Like Moada Al-Bigishi saying here, Dest was a disaster. He was terrible. He was real bad. He was way bad. Eminex Jr. says, Ansu, why if Ansu was here, the game would be way different. This formation would function much different with Ansu Fati because Ansu Fati is more of a finisher than Dembele here. A John. It's called a John. Thank you. A John. What was I going to say? Busquets. I agree with you as well. Busquets, dude, we've seen it time and time again, especially in the last El Clasico, where the goal cost us. The first goal from Valverde in the first El Clasico last season came from Busquets just not knowing how to track back, and that is a problem. That is a problem that is costing Barcelona continuously. I don't know what exactly is the problem here, but he just can simply not play against teams that are going to sit back, defend, that we know are not as deadly as Real Madrid can be on the counter-attack. Sure, play Busquets, but in a big game like this one, there should be somebody else for taking up that position. Like some extra midfielder there that is just not Sergio Busquets. We could have started Sergio Roberto there, maybe Moriba. That could have been the shout. But it was just so... It was just so bad. Patrick Nagib says, well, I honestly hate how one day you guys are praising Koeman and the players, but one game where Madrid barely beat us, we are hating on players. I mean, they did bad, and they must be criticized for what happened in this game. Because against Real Valladolid, we saying the very same thing. The same thing was that our players came out sloppy, clumsy. And against Real Valladolid, they got the lucky goal in the 1-0. Amazing. Dembele, last few minutes. This game was very similar. This game was almost exactly the same. This game was Barcelona constantly giving up a half and not playing good, and then coming back and playing much better in the second one. And then Real Madrid probably realized that they needed to kind of step their foot off their gas and continue from there onwards, but it was just bad. It was bad from the first half, and that's where it is. And they must deserve criticism. Where there's constructive criticism always. BugaLuis, 2 penalties should have been given, which was Simiro, which was the first penalty on Dembele. I don't remember that one. I do remember the Braithwaite one, and the Braithwaite one, I understand why it wasn't given. It was soft. But if that was constantly being something that, if that's something that happened, for instance, to us, we would be saying that's not a penalty. So I do agree with that. Busquets out, Alba out, Dembele out. That's what MC Chino's saying. Barca missed Arthur forward pass. Dembele is a winger, not a center forward. Alba was not good too defensively. Defensively, Alba was trash. For the first goal, he was trash. I do think Araujo could have done better there, but Alba was trash. Lenglet also could have closed him down. MTC saying, if this game happened before the international break, it would have been a completely different story. Probably. I do agree with that. Probably. Look at how Vismong says, look at how Xavi is playing Al Sadd. His team is calculated and smart. You can tell they know exactly what the plan is and they get on the field. As also Xavi is highly respected, he won't let us go down. It could be good. It could be good to see Xavi in, but I would still stick with Koeman until we get rid of all the generations and then have Xavi come back with a new revitalized squad. That is what I would do in my humble opinion. Sabdullah Dar says Dembele and Dest are liabilities in big games. Vinicius Jr. destroyed Dest and destroyed Dembele through the left hand side. It was incredible. Keith Roll says, if Atletico Bilbao beat Barca in la Copa del Rey final, should Koeman leave at the end of the season? I don't think Koeman should leave. Like, he should say, oh, I'm going to leave. But I do think that there's more chances for Laporta to be looking for a new manager. In reality, I would stick with him because I think it's good enough. But there are problems today more. There are more problems than just a manager that I'm trying to fix. So, indeed, that's what I would do. There are more reasons for him to be sacked, certainly. But I wouldn't kick him out. Rashid Kumar, what do you think about the result, Buga? If Pep would have been manager with this same team, if your answer is yes, we could have won, then the answer is not what we need. My answer is not that Pep would have won this game. I do understand what you mean. But I just feel that Pep would never come in a situation like this because this team is just completely out of the blue. This team is not crafted for what we needed it to be, and it would have been better, to be honest. We have to win La Liga and the Copa Rey, says Mcicino. Junet Mia says, why does Jordi always shit in big matches? Liverpool, PSG, Bayern, it's crazy. He gets overrun. The whole team gets overrun. Really, and they are the ones that really get exploited. Someone passed to Dembele where he... Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Someone passed to Dembele, and then Dembele was inside the box, and then Dembele just scuffed it. Horrible from Dembele, that one, inside the box. Meet Maveda says, by the way, I don't think Barca needs a pacey striker, but a striker who can break these low blocks like Madrid did today. Madrid didn't break any low blocks. Madrid was just in the counter-attack. But I do see what you mean. Benzema is a different type of striker. Benzema is more of this technical striker that will constantly just stick and will constantly associate the game, you know? Georgian J says, so much space for Vinicius. We had 3 center backs on one side. The wing backs were not tracking back, and Raya were just pushing on a clear side. Indeed. Joanna has to bring a new coach. We can't have 2 seasons without a trophy, says CM13. Joe Pierre Buga, Barca makes one mistake and it's over. From now to the end of the league, it's not in our hands anymore, but we believe we are known for catching up, but in the end, it's still what it will be. I agree with you, man. The referee was shit, says Amar. It was shit. Brian, Stefan, transition is happening. Expect better season. I expect better from next season. If next season we're coming here and we are seeing this shit performance again, then remember, I'm not going to be happy. Super chat from Sam. Thank you, Sam, for the $5 donation. You say, Buga Laporta after this match, he will probably contact Julian Nagelsmann now. Another thing is, I think that only Pep can master the tiki-taka style. Yeah, probably. I mean, he's doing amazing in City, and he's the only one to play that good all the time. Let's see Real Madrid credit for what they did. I agree with you in Nakamarcana as well. I think Real Madrid played really good football today. They had a good plan. They do the basics very well, and it's very hard for them to continue like that. MTLC says, I don't care what you said on Twitter. Stop with the flipping previews. I mean, if you believe in jinx, sure, I can stop, but I won't. Because this team has to be held accountable. Every single big game they play, they lose. Because I could do previews for... Like, literally, I could do a preview for Real Valladolid. I could do a preview for Deportivo Alavés. A preview for Huesca. I could do a preview for every single game. And I will break the curse. Maybe I should do that so you stop believing. Maybe I should just do a preview for whatever game comes next. Like, not Bilbao. Bilbao, I'm going to do a preview as well. But, I mean, you know, I can just do a preview for whatever shit team. And if we win, sure, preview. MCC, Atletico Madrid versus Barca will determine the league. Yep, 100%. This league is not over, but indeed, it's a problem. Need to win La Copa del Rey. Can't afford to go trophyless 2 years in a row. I agree with you. We need to win La Copa del Rey 100%. Do you believe we deserve to win La Liga? By honesty, besides being a Barcelona fan, no, I don't think. Like, I think we've been playing much better. We deserve to be playing for the league, indeed. But I do think that Atletico Madrid have been overall the better team, and they would probably deserve to win the league. Barcelona should be taking chances of this and should be pushing forward. Yes, indeed, but yeah. Big games like this is where all players should step up, playing for the badge. Today's performance, I only saw 2 or 3 playing with passion. That's from Manny. And I do feel something of you as well, because it's easy for us to come and say, well, with passion, and I want to kind of put myself in the other back as well. But yeah, it's sad. It's really sad that they don't come strong, striding here, like furious into the tackle, all of that. That it was very disappointing. Amar is saying both rap goals were to be blamed for our wingbacks. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, literally the second goal, it could have been anyone, not Dest, but the first goal, it was 100% the fault from our wingbacks. For anyone, this King Buga curse is making you lose. You guys need to grow up. Maybe you could do a preview for a Real Madrid game. Maybe. Why is everyone criticizing the Bele he saved us from last game? That's football for you. I think Miguel has earned himself a 5-year contract with Barca. What a player. I mean, indeed. He really should stay. I'm just kidding, Lo. Don't stop with the previews. It isn't over yet. Don't think Messi should leave. I think so. He has to go. Everyone is passing to him. Nobody's going on his own. That is something that I do agree with you. Unknown sacked. I don't know whatever says your name in the second part of it, but this game Messi constantly was, or people were constantly trying to look for Messi, and that is something that we need to stop. At the first half of the season, where Messi was a false nine and was constantly just up top for himself, it looked good. It looked good because Messi was just alone with himself, and he could just focus on whatever he wanted, and there were others doing the creating for him. And of course, you want Messi, which is one of the best creators in the world as well. But I don't know. I think that we need to stop looking just for Messi in games like this, because there should be other players that really should step up. Sub10 says, I really like Des as a player, but it's your responsibility to stand tall, straight, and face that ball coming no matter what. It's a shame he turned around and cost us the goal. It was a shame. It's just clumsy defending overall, and not too much freaking what do you call it? I don't know. I don't even remember what I was gonna say, but it's just unfortunate. What has happened to Messi free kicks? I have absolutely no idea. Shoair Parve says the rain saved us from another debacle. Consider ourselves lucky for the second goal. Des was solely responsible. Do not turn your back against a free kick. Football basics. I agree with you as well. Clumsy defending from Dest. Rishi Kumar says this team doesn't even know how to properly press with just your position and little movements. Modric was doing better than Pedri and Busi combined and standing. Every time Des goes to play with his country, he comes back with no confidence, even though he does really well, right? Pedri always tries to give a pass, doesn't at least try to take a shot, pass. I agree with you on that one. Pedri should shoot a bit more. He really should shoot a bit more. Yeah, but turn around like how the test did is number one, no in a wall. Yep, listen up. Ole signs CR7, Pep signs Messi and De Bruyne versus CR7 and Bruno Fernandes, Manchester Derby. I like Minguez's celebration. He played with heart. He really did. Be honest, do you think Xavi could have actually done better change and the difference to possible with Barcelona great again? Probably Xavi could do better. Xavi could certainly be better with this team. I think that Xavi, for him to take Barcelona, he should come in a moment where the generation has just completely disappeared, you know? So we have so we have like Pedri playing, Messi, Ansu Fati playing, maybe Messi, maybe not. I don't know. I don't really care about that. I think that it needs to be a moment where Xavi comes in, where we have a new squad, and then he can control everything in it. No Busquets, no Alba, no players like that. Bye, I'm supporting PSG now. They are playing in different positions. It's a great indicator that we help him in those positions. That's a good point, honestly. That's a very good point. Buga, we really need to be consistent. Is there a single big one of we haven't won this season? By big, I mean world-class teams, not Sevilla. Only one I can think is Juventus at Juventus Stadium. That's the only one I can think of as well. I think Sevilla, it's still a big game because we're down. But overall, we haven't won a single big game this season. We haven't won a single one. The final is a big game. It's not against a world-class team, but still we should win it. Real played Getafe without Casemiro, maybe Ramos and Varane. That's big. Why doesn't it even go forward? At least when Mingueza goes forward, he can cover back and Lenglet will be still in the halfway line. I agree with you as well. Lenglet just constantly tracks forward and never returns and takes just way too slow to come back into position. What do you think of Ilaix Casemiro hit moment? I love Ilaix for that. I know, right? I know that. But Ilaix did realize, like, oh, shit, I'm talking to Casemiro here. Because he never looked Casemiro in the eye once. Like, just a bit, but never much after that. Koeman needs to sub off Pedri when he's performing. He can't deal with his bias. Moriba, when he came in, was incredible. I agree with you on that one as well. I think the change was Pedri for Moriba early on. Then if you want... like Pedri for Moriba and Roberto for Busquets, and then Ricky Puig probably coming in later for whenever Moriba came in. That would have been my changes. This is the worst attack we've had. To be completely honest, this is not the worst we've had,
Barcelona has scored 109 goals this season, and Real Madrid has scored 73. So Barcelona still produces more. Still is a very good attack, but we've been accustomed to a Barcelona that is able to dominate more. So I can tell you that. Koeman, 4 minutes of additional time while the referee took minutes to change his equipment. He took more. He took like 3 minutes to change his equipment. In the first half, all 11 of their players were inside the box as soon as Barca had the ball. It was hard for Barca to create and follow through. I know, Real Madrid were very strategic on that, and that's something that you must praise them for. He was very organized. Very, very freaking organized. Omar Askil saying, anyone else feel that Coutinho could have added something to this game? Maybe, but it's hard to tell now. Well, you can only decide if Koeman should stay if he gets a good number 9 next season. I mean, if any manager was in that position, I do understand. If Puig would have been there in his 85th minute, he would have passed the ball to Alba. These type of small moments define players' composure and character. I do agree with that one. Moriba, instead of shooting, Moriba should have passed the ball to Jordi Alba. That is something that's going to come with experience. And perhaps Enrique Puig is far better there than Moriba is. And that criticism, whilst valid, is not really something you can bring up right now because we never know what can happen. That's circumstantial. You can only say, I already read that. I fucking agree we played bad, but it wasn't helping us that the ref making so many calls against us. Yep, the ref was dumb. Even Real Madrid fans can say the ref was just awful. He's so bad of a referee. The way Miguel celebrate his goal, kiss the badge, that's a guy I want on my team. Indeed. In my opinion, Griezmann coming in help us a lot. I know it allows us to play from the wings without risking Alvarez's defensive positionally. I agree as well. But do you think this might affect Barca's mentality in the Copa Rey final? 100%. 100%, but it should affect it positively. It really should. But with this team, you never know. I think Barca are still building a team. We can do better. I agree. And also, Alberta is best after Guardiola in a Clasico. I think Luis Enrique has some few more Clásicos on him than Valverde. On Valverde than we think. So yeah, I do think there's something different there. Guys, let's just all appreciate how far we have come this season. I mean, we couldn't even imagine being in the title race in the beginning of the season. Tough luck today definitely could have been tied. I agree. The draw, for me, was a draw. In all honesty. It was so draw. The Barcelona could have go there, could have get the draw. That is something that we should have seen. Mingueza, I was happy with Mingueza. I was just really happy with everything, in all honesty. But we did show that reaction, and that's why I'm not devastated. Like, if this was 3-0 and it was just awful Barca, like from the first half, it was just so bad. What if we don't win any titles? Do we keep Koeman, says Jay Heights? It's a difficult one. If I'm being honest. But I think that the team do have something more to give yet. I still do feel this team has a higher ceiling. I do think Barcelona could think about letting go of Koeman. There are so many questions, but right now it's not the moment to answer them. We still need to wait a little bit more for that. What else? Barca should have had a 2-2 penalties. Should have been a draw. This match was nullified. I agree with you. Football is unjust. Like I say in the title. Do you think Real can go and win the Champions League? I do feel that. I feel that can happen. Like, Real Madrid are in a very good part, in a very good draw. Let's say they have Liverpool, which they should be Liverpool now. Then they should go against Chelsea, and Chelsea will probably be a tough opponent, but still Real Madrid should win. And I feel it wouldn't be a surprise to see Real Madrid in the final. Like, it's not surprise. But what do you say this game was a match of two halves? Yep, this was clearly a match of two halves. Why can't the ref even have a look for folks? I have absolutely no idea. I do not understand that. The ref should always take a look at everything. Always. They played a horrific first half, and we deserved the draw. I agree with you. We like, look at this: 9 changes, 3 minutes of stoppage time by Gil Manzano to fix his tech, then 1 minute for Braithwaite versus Mendy, plus the red card for Casemiro, and only 4 minutes added. That's hilarious. That's hilarious indeed. The referee is literally smiling, dude. Literally smiling at the end of the game. So dumb. By the way, who will lose their place in the midfield next match so that Griezmann would come in, or it would just be a center back? I don't know. Nacho, Casemiro, and Ramos will all miss the game against Getafe. Valverde, Vasquez, and Varane are doubtful. What happened to Pjanic? Pjanic just been disappeared. Bro, even when Bayern lose, they look dangerous. Why? Like, versus PSG. Because they play good football. That's the thing. You can't rely on a system and always play good football. But Barcelona's system is not as drilled as much as we anticipate. 2-1 isn't fair at all. Only Bayern or City can beat DC and Madrid. I agree. Like, Man City will be the only team that could beat this Real Madrid team, if we're being honest. This Real Madrid team is actually good. Who would you bring in as who, says Anthony Calvillo? Who in what sense? A player, a manager? Real Madrid will win the league again. Probably. I think they can win the league again. It's just been such a shit year, honestly. Did De Jong even play? Says Edwin Arceo. This game was the same game as Man City versus Dortmund. Dortmund played better. Arguable. I think City were better in that one. I did rewatch the game. I think Koeman is stubborn. Overlord Kings, you should acknowledge when Messi was fouled and Moriba fought back, protecting the team. I already said that, and I love Moriba. Moriba was constantly playing up there, constantly getting in the face of Casemiro and other players. I think it was proper. And probably that was the thing that made Casemiro lose his mind a little bit. Unfortunately, it didn't happen sooner. Imagine this Madrid with Mbappe. I hope they don't get him. Dude, this team with Mbappe, like, instead of Vinicius having Mbappe, that would be deadly. That would be deadly. So deadly. Buga, GG's to Madrid, but we made ourselves lose. We played like shit in the first half, but La Liga isn't over. We have Copa del Rey final next week. Vizca Barça. I want to win the Copa del Rey so much. And we do have the preview for that being made. And I do want to make a preview for that because it's going to be interesting to talk about this. But I even believe that's a curse. I even do believe the curse. With that being said, guys, I don't know. Is there anything else to talk? I'm not really sure. Should we talk about anything else? I don't know. What else? Xavi in, out, says people. Everyone wanted a 3-5-2 and Griezmann out. What did get us? We shouldn't have changed what we did against Sociedad at center back and Griezmann in. We can always change ourselves in big games. I do think that's a good point from Aniket Kumar, and that is something to think about. I do agree with that statement because maybe we are changing too much, and I do think that I do agree with that statement. And I also did want it to see a different lineup. Maybe we should be a little bit more cautious with how we do things, but indeed. A player that I would bring in, I would bring in plenty. Like, I could bring Haaland. I would like to bring Eric Garcia. I would like to bring a midfielder, somebody new. Mbappe is such a Real Madrid player. He's such an ego. He even said to Alba that he would kill him in the streets. Yeah, I know, right? Jolie Sonia says, at this point, I'm going to root for Atleti to win the league. I would also much rather see Atleti win the league than Real Madrid, to be honest. Parker Ash says, time to do your homework. Buga, homework. I always have homework. Mbappe or Haaland as a striker. I think Haaland is a better striker. I think Mbappe is a better player all around. The only good things that come out of this game, Casemiro and Nacho suspensions. I guess you could say that. Who would I bring for Busi then? It's hard. It's hard to bring someone for Busi, but I would probably just stick De Jong in there, have Pedri in the midfield. See how we do with Pedri, Ricky Puig, test it out. If it doesn't work, bring somebody else in. I would keep Alenya. I would stay with Alenya. Moriba. We have a good midfielder. Like, I wouldn't change that. But players in the midfield I would like to see. Fabian Ruiz is a good player. I think Hussein Awar is a good player. But it's just hard to pick, honestly, because there's so many players that we need to change, honestly. Ansu Fati and Haaland should be our line-up season, says Samuel Chukwuemeke. Literally just Ansu Fati and Haaland. A couple of weeks it was a goal rebuild. I'm thinking of a season with no expected trophy. Now suddenly Barca fans are reacting as if we should have won the treble this season again. I don't think it's a treble, but I think we could have done better in this team. I think we could have done better with this team in this game. Because the problem for me, and here I'm going to close it already, the problem for me doesn't come in not winning. The problem for me comes in gifting a half. That's a problem that I have. Redundancy. But I have that problem, that we didn't come out proper. And that's a problem. That's a very big problem. So with that, guys, we're going to leave it for now. I need to plan new videos to make for the week. Certainly a lot will change with this result. So indeed, let's see how we evolve from this one. The referee didn't help. It's a good game. We're going to rise again 100%. It's sad that this kit, we're not going to use it again. We should use it again sometime. But indeed. I'm going to leave it through there, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.